What's going on, guys? MoneyGuy here, and today I'm back with another Storytime video. So, today's story, I'm going to be talking about the second time of when I tried to get a girlfriend by putting a note in her locker, and it failing. But, it didn't fail as bad as the first time around, but an L is an L, so yeah, let's get into the story. So, this all started back in 8th grade. And there was this girl who was in my band and English class, and let's just call her Katie. So me and Katie, you know, we uh we both like sat next to each other in band because we were both, hashtag trumpet gang. So uh we both played the trumpet, and so that's how we got to like talk to each other, mostly about like music and stuff. But sometimes I'd slip in a few things here and there to try to impress her. I'm not really good at talking, so I just had to like do the best that I could. And in English, we didn't really like sit next to each other, but at least at like the beginning of the year, we sat in like the same table, so I was still able to like talk to her and do all that stuff. So basically, compared to how I am now or how I was in high school, I was a lot more social in like elementary school and eighth grade or like middle school in general. So in like band and English, I would always like try to get her attention by doing like dumb things or just saying like jokes just to like try to get her to like me, because I knew I liked her like almost like right away, like after we started talking to each other with a little. And so that's it. Basically only took like I'd probably say like 2 months max to know. And so a little while after that, I was just like, wow, I really like this. I really like Katie. And so like this was literally out of the blue. It was just one random day in class. I was just like, I think I'm going to write her a note. Now, obviously, if you've seen my first Storytime video, then you know that writing a note didn't really work the first time. So that's why I had the great idea of, instead of writing a note, I would just like, I was just gonna write a little something on a sticky note. So that's what I did. I like took out a sticky note from my just from my like backpack, my binder or whatever, and I wrote "I like you, Katie" on the sticky note. And I did this like little like swirly thing with my letters so that she like wouldn't recognize my handwriting. Like, I don't know what I was. I don't know why I was obsessed with anonymous letters, but whatever. I was in 8th grade. Cut me some slack. But yeah. So I basically, that the day after, I had to like find her locker, and if surprisingly, it took a lot longer to find her locker than it should have. It took me like 3 days, I think, because I like so with Maddie, I like knew where her locker was because it was like kind of close to our math class, but like I didn't really know Katie's schedule, so like I had to like sort of like follow her. I wasn't stalking, okay? It was just like after class, I would sort of just like see where she was going before I went to my class, and so that's how I found out where her locker was. And so after school, her locker was also in a more remote area, so again, it was kind of harder to find. But anyways, after school, when everyone had cleared out, I put the uh, I put the note in her locker and it just went home. So the next day, I came to school early, and I was just like waiting for her to go to her locker, and she went there, but I don't think she actually saw the note, because when she opened her locker, she just like grabbed her stuff, put her backpack in there, and then just went to class. And so I was like, oh boy, this isn't good, because to be fair, it was like a sticky note, right? So it could easily be like just misplaced in the locker. And so I sort of had to like go to her locker like every period to find out if she ever saw it. So throughout that day, I actually didn't know if Katie had found the like letter that I put in her locker. And how I ended up actually finding out was that I overheard like one of her friends talking. I think it was like during science class. She was talking to like one of her friends, and I heard them talking about like Katie finding a letter in her locker, not knowing who it was from. And in that instance, I had this realization. I was like, wow, since this is an anonymous letter and like I didn't put my name on it, she could just think that like one of her friends wrote it and put it in her locker because Katie and her friends are actually like pretty close. Well, because I did like the swirly letters, it could look like, you know, girlish, I guess. And so I was just like, oh no, I think this plan just like backfired and kind of failed. And so I was like, the only way to let her know it was me, or at least like let her know that she has a secret admirer, is by, actually writing a love letter. And so that's exactly what I did. I went back home. I wrote. Now, this love letter, like, I knew in the other one that I had written, like, that memory with Maddie. But this time around, I had no idea, like, what I wrote in this letter. And the reason why is because after I'd written the letter, the next day, I had gone to school and I was literally like all prepared. I was like, okay, everyone's clearing out. It's time to do it. But then I was like, I had the letter in my like hand, and I was starting to like reread it, and then I was literally like having like flashbacks of when it literally flashbacks of that teacher, because that memory will always be scarred in my life. She's like, do you even know? Are you even like old enough to know what love is? Like that just like rolled around in my head, and I just like had this bad feeling that like I really didn't know what was gonna happen if I put this letter in her locker. And so for once in both of these stories, I had a good idea for once. And I just took the letter, I put it back into my backpack and just went home. And so I just did not end up putting the note in her locker, which is a decision I very much thank my past self for, because I honestly don't know what would have happened if I put it in there. So after I decided that I wasn't gonna put the letter in her locker, the rest of the year, like I still talked to her because like we sat next to each other, so I kind of like had to, but I just didn't try to like purposely go out of my way to like talk to her, try to impress her or anything, just because I was like, I didn't even know if I wanted a girlfriend. I just liked her and I just sort of left it at that. And even though that's sort of how the story ends, I do have like just one like last tidbit where we both were in the same creative writing class my senior year, and I was actually like, no, okay, maybe is this is kind of cap, but like I I'll give you a percentage, okay? I was like, I had this idea in my mind because of senior year, right? We're gonna graduate. I'm probably never gonna see uh Katie like ever again. And so in creative writing, what I was gonna do was I was gonna write a story like as our final, because our final was this like group like anthology where we were just going to like write our stories or poems or whatever, and everyone was gonna get them so everyone could read everyone else's final project. So I was gonna write a short story of like my story, like that I'm telling right now, but like put my name and her name in it, just so that like she would know that that note was for me, if she even remembered, because that would have been like what, like 4 years. So yeah, she might not even remember it, but I was gonna do that just because I wouldn't have to deal with like the social awkwardness of, or like the repercussions, I guess. But I didn't end up going through with it, and it wasn't because I was like scared of the repercussions. I was just like, if I'm being honest, I was just too lazy to actually like want to write this down in a short story format. Because that final, it was like creative writing, right? Like what easy class. So I just ended up like stealing one of my previous like works and just turning that in for an easy A. And so yeah, the reason I didn't end up doing it was because I was too lazy to write the actual story. But I say there's like a 30% chance that I would have gone through with the plan had had I actually decided to write the story. But yeah, that's basically the end of this story. So if there's one lesson to be learned from this story, it's be smart like how it was the second time, and don't put that letter in her locker. And instead of doing what I've been doing this whole time, if you want to get a girl, maybe just like actually like talk to them, say that you like them, maybe. I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but that's just my advice. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.